Ava Lorne stood at the window of her office, looking down at the bustling city below. Neon lights flickered across the tall buildings, reflecting in her sharp, gray eyes. She had built Nuracore from scratch, turning it into one of the most respected tech companies in the world. Every decision she made felt like a step towards something bigger, something meaningful. But as she sipped her coffee, she realized that in the race to build her empire, she had left very little room for herself. Her life was a constant cycle of meetings, presentations, and late-night coding sessions. The board members praised her efficiency. Investors trusted her instincts, and her employees admired her vision. Yet, deep down, Ava felt a subtle emptiness, a space that no amount of success could fill. She wanted something more than recognition. She wanted connection, laughter, and the warmth of a family she had never had. It was on a quiet Friday evening that she first met Jason Rains. The event was a charity gala hosted by Nuracore to support underprivileged children learning technology. Ava had barely managed to squeeze a moment for herself in the crowd of well-dressed executives and donors when she noticed him. Jason wasn't tall or striking in the way celebrities often were, but there was something about the way he carried himself that drew attention. His dark hair was slightly messy, his eyes bright with curiosity, and a gentle smile rested on his face as he held his daughter, Lily's, small hand. Lily, barely 10 years old, was wearing a sparkling blue dress that made her look like a tiny star, her wide eyes scanning the room in amazement. Ava watched quietly as Jason knelt to tie Lily's shoe, speaking to her in a calm, soothing voice. There was patience in his movements, a softness in his tone that Ava hadn't seen in anyone in her professional life. Something about the scene tugged at her heart. She hadn't expected to feel drawn to anyone tonight, but her curiosity about this single father grew with every second she observed him. Their first conversation happened by chance. Ava had been walking toward the refreshments when she accidentally bumped into Jason. "I'm so sorry," Ava said, stepping back. Jason smiled warmly, shaking his head. "No problem at all. These heels are dangerous on polished floors anyway," he joked lightly. Nodding at her shoes, Ava laughed, surprised by his casual, friendly tone. "They are a little impractical, I'll admit." "I'm Jason," he said, extending his hand. "Ava," she replied, shaking it firmly. Their hands met, and there was a brief, unspoken connection that neither of them could explain. Ava noticed the ease in his grip, the sincerity in his eyes. Lily tugged on Jason's sleeve. "Daddy, can we see the robots now?" she asked excitedly. Jason chuckled and turned to his daughter. "Of course, Lily, but let's say hello to Miss Ava first." Ava smiled at Lily, who gave her a shy wave. "It's nice to meet you," Ava said softly. Lily beamed. "You're the lady who makes the robots?" "Something like that," Ava replied, amused. She knelt slightly to meet Lily's eyes. "Do you like robots?" Lily nodded eagerly. "I want to build one that can help people in hospitals." Jason glanced at Ava, a hint of pride in his expression. "She's already got big ideas. I just try to keep up." Ava felt an unexpected warmth. There was honesty in Jason's words, a simplicity she hadn't experienced in her corporate world full of flattery and ambition. She realized that for the first time in a long while, she wanted to spend more time with someone outside her carefully controlled life. The evening progressed, and Ava found herself repeatedly crossing paths with Jason and Lily. They laughed over small games at a tech demo station, shared stories about their work, and Ava learned that Jason was a software developer who had left the corporate world to focus on his daughter. He had chosen a simple, meaningful life over ambition, a choice Ava secretly admired. "Why do you work with kids?" Ava asked, genuinely curious, as they watched Lily program a small robot to move across the floor. Jason looked at her thoughtfully. "I want to give them a chance to explore things I never had. And it's fun. I like seeing them figure things out for themselves. Maybe. I want to give them figure things out for themselves." Ava nodded, impressed. There was something rare about him. He wasn't chasing fame or power. He was chasing purpose. And as she watched him interact with Lily, she realized she was drawn not only to Jason but also to the warmth and joy he brought into the world. When the gala ended, Ava found herself walking alongside them to the elevator. The city lights reflected off the glass walls, painting their reflections on the floor. "You're going to have to show me more about these robots sometime," Jason said, smiling. "Lily would love it." "I'd like that," Ava replied, surprised at how natural it felt to agree. "Maybe next weekend?" Jason nodded. "It's a date, if Lily approves." Lily giggled. "I approve." That night, Ava returned to her penthouse, her mind buzzing with thoughts she hadn't had in years. For the first time in a long while, she felt something beyond ambition and deadlines. She felt hope. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew she wanted to explore it. Meanwhile, Jason tucked Lily into bed, reading her favorite story about a brave young inventor. After kissing her forehead, he sat by the window, staring out at the city skyline. Ava's face popped into his mind unexpectedly. There was something about her that intrigued him, something beyond her reputation and wealth. But there was also something he was hiding, a past he had kept secret for years. He wasn't sure if it would ever matter, but for the first time, he felt the desire to share his life with someone again. Over the next few days, Ava found herself thinking about Jason and Lily more than she expected. She looked forward to their weekend plans, imagining the possibilities of friendship, mentorship, and perhaps even romance. She allowed herself a rare moment of daydreaming, picturing a life where success wasn't her only companion, where she could laugh freely, and where someone could see her for who she truly was, not just the CEO of a giant corporation. On Saturday morning, Ava arrived at Jason's modest apartment with a small bag of gadgets and educational kits for Lily. Jason greeted her with a smile, and Lily's eyes lit up when she saw Ava's presence. "Wow! You brought us real robots?" Lily asked, practically bouncing with excitement. "Real, but also easy enough for you to program," Ava replied, laughing. "We'll build them together." As the day unfolded, Ava discovered something extraordinary: the joy of working together, of teaching and learning. Jason guided them with patience and humor, while Ava shared her knowledge and technical expertise. By the end of the day, they had created a small army of robots that could perform simple tasks, but more importantly, they had formed a bond, a connection built on trust, respect, and shared curiosity. Ava left that evening with a smile on her face, her heart lighter than it had been in years. She didn't know where this relationship would go, but she knew it was the start of something meaningful. Jason walked her to the door, holding Lily's hand, and for a brief moment, the three of them stood together in comfortable silence, watching the city glow beneath them. "Thank you," Ava said softly. "For what?" Jason asked, tilting his head. "For bringing this," she said, motioning between them. "This happiness. It's rare." Jason's smile widened, but a shadow flickered across his eyes for just a moment, a reminder of a past he had yet to share. "Anytime," he replied, giving her a reassuring nod. "We're just getting started." And as Ava walked back to her car, she felt a sense of anticipation she hadn't felt in years. The world of corporate boards and endless deadlines had not prepared her for this. She was stepping into something new, something human, and for the first time, she didn't want to control it, she just wanted to experience it. Little did they both know, their lives were about to intertwine in ways neither of them could imagine. Secrets, challenges, and opportunities were on the horizon. But for now, all that mattered was the unexpected connection between a driven CEO, a devoted single father, and his curious, bright-eyed daughter. The following Monday, Nuracor's headquarters buzzed with activity. Ava Lorne sat in her office, reviewing the final designs for the company's new community outreach program, a project aimed at teaching technology skills to children from low-income neighborhoods. The goal was to give these children the same opportunities that her company's engineers had when they were young. Ava had been thinking about Jason and Lily since the gala. Their weekend together had left a warm impression on her. She admired Jason's approach to teaching and his natural way of inspiring curiosity in children. So, when the opportunity arose, she invited him to participate in the project. Jason was hesitant at first. He wasn't sure if he wanted to mix his simple life with a corporate giant, but the thought of helping more children learn and grow, and the chance to spend time with Ava and Lily, persuaded him to accept. The first day of the program arrived, and the community center was filled with excited chatter. Children ran around, some tinkering with small robotic kits, others experimenting with virtual reality headsets. Ava stood near the entrance, observing as Jason knelt beside a small group of kids. "Try pressing this button, and watch what happens," Jason said, showing a young boy how to make a robot move forward. He patiently guided the children, answering questions and encouraging them to think creatively. Ava watched in admiration. Even in a chaotic room full of excited children, Jason remained calm and focused, making everyone feel included. Lily was at his side, beaming with pride. She loved seeing her dad teach and help others. And Ava noticed something even more remarkable: the way the children gravitated toward Jason and Lily, trusting them immediately. There was a rare quality about him: gentleness, honesty, and a natural ability to inspire. Ava joined a table of kids building small drones. "Need some help?" she asked, crouching beside a boy who looked frustrated. "Yes," the boy exclaimed. "It keeps falling apart." Ava smiled. "Let's figure it out together." Sometimes, things break before they fly. It's part of learning. As they worked side by side, Ava realized that she and Jason complemented each other perfectly. He nurtured patience and creativity, while she provided knowledge and guidance. Together, they created an environment where children felt safe to experiment, fail, and try again. By lunchtime, the kids had built functioning robots, programmed simple games, and learned basic coding skills. Jason and Ava sat on a bench outside, enjoying a rare moment of quiet. "You're really good with them," Ava said, watching Jason interact with Lily as she showed him her robot. Jason shrugged. "It comes naturally, I guess. I just want to give them a chance to discover what they're capable of." Ava looked at him thoughtfully. "You do more than that. You make them believe in themselves." "That's rare." Jason smiled but looked away, a shadow crossing his face. "Thanks. I just hope I'm doing it right." "You are," Ava reassured him. "You're more than right." Despite their growing friendship and shared mission, Ava couldn't ignore the subtle unease she felt whenever she noticed Jason's guarded moments. He seemed to avoid certain questions about his past and became thoughtful when conversations touched on his work history. Ava was curious, but she respected his privacy. She sensed that whatever it was personal, and perhaps even painful. The week continued with more sessions at the community center. Ava was impressed by the way Jason balanced teaching with being a father. He never lost patience, never raised his voice, and always found ways to encourage Lily and the other children. Ava found herself admiring him more each day. She realized that Jason's strength didn't come from wealth or status. It came from integrity, compassion, and the choices he made for the people he loved. One afternoon, during a short break, Ava and Jason sat on a bench outside the center. The sun was warm, and the city noises felt distant. "You know," Ava began, "I didn't expect to feel this way about someone outside my world." Jason raised an eyebrow, curious. "What do you mean?" "I've spent so long in a bubble of deadlines and meetings," Ava said, looking at him honestly. "I forgot what it felt like to connect with someone who isn't just interested in what you can achieve for them." Jason's lips curved into a gentle smile. "I think we both needed this. And not just for Lily. For ourselves, too." Ava nodded, appreciating his insight. There was honesty in his words that she rarely encountered. She felt comfortable sharing small pieces of herself with him, things she had never told anyone in her professional life. But just as their trust was growing, Ava noticed something strange. Jason's phone buzzed, and he quickly glanced at it before slipping it back into his pocket. A flash of tension crossed his face, but he quickly masked it with a smile. Ava didn't comment, but her curiosity deepened. Later that week, Ava invited Jason and Lily to her penthouse for dinner. She wanted them to feel at home in her world, to see that she could step away from work and enjoy life beyond the office. Lily was thrilled. She explored Ava's apartment, fascinated by the futuristic gadgets and holographic displays. Jason watched her with a gentle smile, clearly proud of her curiosity. During dinner, Ava asked about Jason's childhood and what had led him to choose his current path. Jason hesitated, giving short, careful answers. Ava sensed he was holding back, but she didn't push. She understood that trust takes time, and she wanted him to feel safe enough to open up when he was ready. After dinner, they sat together in the living room, watching a holographic display of Lily's robots in action. Ava felt a deep sense of connection, not just with Jason, but with Lily as well. The child's bright spirit and Jason's calm guidance made her feel that this small, imperfect family could create something extraordinary together. Over the next few days, Ava and Jason continued working on the community project. Their collaboration was seamless. Ava handled logistics and technical guidance, while Jason focused on teaching and mentoring. Lily often joined them, her laughter and excitement filling the space with energy. As they worked, Ava began to notice small details about Jason: how he always listened more than he spoke, how he treated everyone with respect, and how he quietly handled challenges without complaint. She realized that these qualities, more than charm or intellect, were what made him truly remarkable. One evening, after the program ended, Ava and Jason walked home together. Lily skipped ahead, collecting small pieces of trash she found along the way. "She likes to keep the streets clean," Jason said with a laugh. "She's going to be an inventor and an environmentalist," Ava replied, smiling. "A perfect combination." They stopped at a quiet corner, the city lights reflecting in the puddles from a recent rain. Ava looked at Jason, feeling a mixture of admiration and curiosity. "Jason," she said gently, "can I ask you something?" "Of course," he replied, though a small tension appeared in his shoulders. "Why are you so careful about your past?" Ava asked. "I notice it sometimes, and I just want to understand." Jason paused, taking a deep breath. "It's complicated," he said finally. "I made some choices years ago that were not easy. I don't regret them, but they changed my life in ways that aren't always easy to explain." Ava nodded slowly. "I understand. You don't have to tell me everything right now. I just want you to know that I trust you, and I respect what you've done for Lily and for these kids." Jason's expression softened, and for a moment, he seemed relieved. "Thank you, Ava. That means more than you know." They walked the rest of the way in comfortable silence, a sense of trust growing between them. Ava realized that relationships, much like technology, required patience, understanding, and collaboration. Jason's past, whatever it was, did not define him entirely. It was just one part of a larger, remarkable person. By the end of the week, Ava felt a growing sense of admiration and connection. She knew that her life was slowly changing, that the sterile routine of corporate work was no longer enough. There was something human, warm, and inspiring in the bond she was forming with Jason and Lily. And Jason, for the first time in years, felt that he could allow himself to trust someone again. He wasn't sure how the future would unfold, but he knew that with Ava, and with Lily's innocent guidance, he could face whatever came next. Their lives were intertwining in small, meaningful ways. And though Jason's secret past still lingered in the background, it was clear that trust, patience, and human connection could begin to overcome even the weight of old mistakes. For now, Ava and Jason focused on building something bigger than themselves. An environment where curiosity, kindness, and knowledge could thrive, and where Lily's bright spirit could shine. And in the process, they were building something personal too, a foundation of trust, hope, and the quiet possibility of love. The morning sun spilled through the tall glass windows of Nuracore headquarters, casting golden light across the sleek, metallic surfaces of Ava Lauren's office. Ava sat at her desk, reviewing the latest progress reports from the community outreach program. The project was going well. More children were showing interest in coding and robotics than she had ever expected. And Jason and Lily were central to that success. Ava's thoughts, however, kept drifting to Jason. He had been quiet lately, a little distant, and she noticed subtle changes in his behavior. He seemed distracted during meetings and sometimes hesitated before answering her questions. The moments were small, but Ava's instincts told her that Jason was hiding something he hadn't yet shared. Her curiosity, combined with the trust they had built, made her wonder what could be troubling him. But Ava knew better than to push. Trust was built slowly, and she wanted Jason to feel comfortable enough to open up on his own. That afternoon, Jason arrived at Nuracore to help with a special robotics workshop for teenagers. Ava greeted him at the entrance, a smile on her face, trying to hide the concern she felt. "Morning, Jason," she said. "Ready for another day of inspiring young minds?" Jason smiled, though a shadow lingered behind his eyes. "Always. Let's see what these kids can do." The workshop began, and Ava watched as Jason guided the teenagers with patience and insight. He encouraged them to ask questions, to experiment, and to learn from mistakes. Ava noticed how the students looked at him with admiration and trust, a teacher who cared deeply, not just about their grades, but about their growth. Yet beneath his calm exterior, Jason's thoughts kept returning to the past he had carefully kept hidden. Years ago, before Lily was born, he had worked at a large tech corporation. During his time there, he discovered evidence of unethical practices, decisions that could harm consumers and employees alike. Reporting the wrongdoing had made him a whistleblower, but it had also earned him enemies. He had faced threats, social isolation, and the loss of career opportunities. Jason had never shared this story with anyone. Not with Lily. Not with friends. And certainly not with Ava. He had buried it deep, hoping that his past would remain irrelevant to the life he had built. But now, in the age of the internet and corporate competition, old information had a way of resurfacing. Later that day, Ava returned to her office to check emails. Her eyes widened as she read a message from a major tech news outlet. The headline was shocking. Nuracore employee linked to corporate controversy. Whistleblower scandal revisited. Ava's heart skipped a beat. She clicked on the article, and there it was, Jason's name, along with details about his past whistleblowing. The story painted him as a controversial figure, hinting at hidden dangers in his history, though it admitted he had exposed unethical practices. Ava's mind raced. Her first thought was concern for Jason. He had never asked for recognition, never sought fame, and now the world was digging up a story from a decade ago. The second thought, more immediate and practical, was for Nuracore. The article was gaining traction online, and rival companies could use it to attack her company's reputation. A knock on the door broke her concentration. Jason stepped inside, holding a box of robotics kits for the next day's session. He looked cheerful, but Ava could see the tension in his eyes. "Jason, we need to talk," she said, motioning him to sit. "There's an article about your past. I want to hear it from you directly." Jason's expression shifted, a mix of resignation and apprehension. He nodded slowly and sat across from her. "You know I didn't hide it to deceive anyone," he began, voice calm but firm. "I just wanted to move forward, to focus on Lily and the work that mattered. But yes, it's true. Years ago, I discovered unethical practices at my previous company. I reported them, and it cost me a lot: friends, colleagues, opportunities. I did what I thought was right." Ava listened carefully, appreciating the honesty in his words. "And the consequences?" she asked gently. "I lost my job, faced threats, and eventually left the corporate world," Jason explained. "I chose a simpler life for Lily and me. I thought that was enough, that my past wouldn't matter here." Ava's mind raced. She admired his courage, standing up for what was right, even at great personal cost. But she also realized that his history could be used against Nuracore. Competitors could twist the story, creating doubt about his integrity or motives. "I understand," Ava said after a pause. "And I respect what you did. But we need to think about how this affects the company. We can't control everything that's written online. But we can prepare ourselves." Jason nodded. "I know. I want to help. Whatever it takes. I won't let my past harm you or Nurakor. Ava felt a surge of gratitude. Here was a man who had faced adversity before and was willing to face it again to protect something and someone he cared about. She realized that his past, while complicated, revealed strength, courage, and integrity, the very qualities she admired most. Over the next few days, the team worked diligently to respond to the article. Ava called a press conference to clarify the situation, emphasizing that Jason's actions had exposed wrongdoing and demonstrated ethical courage. She framed his story as a testament to human integrity, a man who had chosen the right path despite personal cost. Jason supported her, speaking honestly and humbly about his past. He emphasized that ethics and transparency were more important than corporate politics, and that he was committed to the positive work they were doing with children and technology. The public response was mixed, but many respected Jason's honesty and bravery. Some parents even reached out, inspired by his story, asking how their children could join the programs and learn ethical technology practices. Ava watched as Jason handled the attention with grace and humility. She felt admiration and relief he had faced the storm without letting it break him. Yet, even as the external crisis stabilized, Ava noticed subtle changes in Jason. There were moments when he seemed distant, lost in thought, or hesitant to engage fully. She realized that the emotional weight of revisiting the past was heavy, and she wanted to support him without adding pressure. One evening, after a long day, Ava invited Jason and Lily to her penthouse for dinner again. The warm light of the city below reflected in the glass walls, creating a soft, comforting atmosphere. Lily was excited, showing Ava her latest robotic invention. Jason smiled, proud of his daughter's enthusiasm. Ava took a deep breath, looking at Jason. You know, Jason, your past doesn't scare me. If anything, it makes me respect you more. You've faced difficult choices and stood by what's right. That's rare. Jason's eyes softened. Thank you, Ava. I didn't want it to affect this life we're building. I wanted Lily to have stability, and for us to have peace. You still can, Ava reassured him. We'll face it together. And if anyone judges you, it won't be me. I see who you really are. Jason smiled, a mix of relief and gratitude. That means more than you know. Over the next week, they continued their work at the community center. The children's curiosity and enthusiasm remained high, and the robotics program thrived. Jason's courage and Ava's guidance inspired not only the kids but also the volunteers and staff. Lily thrived in this environment, proud of her dad, and inspired by Ava's leadership. As Ava watched Jason teach a small group of students, she realized something important. His past, though complicated, did not define him. It had shaped him into a man of integrity, patience, and compassion, and she understood that everyone carried pieces of their past, some visible, some hidden, but it was how one faced those experiences that truly mattered. One evening, as they packed up the equipment, Jason turned to Ava. I know this week has been intense, he said quietly, but I feel like we've handled it well. Together. Ava nodded, smiling. We have. And I think we're stronger because of it. Your past isn't a threat, it's a part of who you are. And I like who you are, Jason. For the first time in years, Jason felt a sense of relief and hope. He realized that honesty, trust, and human connection were more powerful than any secret or past mistake. With Ava and Lily by his side, he could face anything. And as they walked home together, the city lights twinkling around them, Ava felt the quiet certainty that their bond, built on respect, trust, and shared values, was something worth protecting. Secrets had surfaced, yes, but they had also revealed strength, courage, and the remarkable human ability to rise above challenges. In that moment, both Ava and Jason knew that the journey ahead would not always be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and moments of doubt. But they had proven to themselves, and to each other, that honesty, integrity, and connection could overcome even the weight of the past. And so, they stepped forward together, ready to face whatever the future might bring, strengthened by trust, love, and the knowledge that some truths, when shared with courage, can create bonds stronger than any obstacle. The following week at NeuroCore headquarters was unusually tense. Ava Lauren's office, usually calm and methodical, felt charged with anticipation. Despite Jason's honesty and the public clarification of his past, whispers and glances from colleagues reminded her that human nature was slow to trust. Some employees were uneasy about the media coverage, even though Jason had done nothing wrong. Ava, however, refused to let doubt dictate her actions. She believed in Jason and his integrity, and she was determined to show others the truth through his actions rather than rumors. Today, a new challenge awaited. The company's community program was scheduled to host a citywide robotics competition for children. It was the largest event of the year, and the stakes were high. Ava needed everyone, including Jason, to shine. Jason arrived early, carrying his usual calm and patience, though Ava noticed him glance at his phone a few times. Each time, his face flickered with concern, quickly replaced by a reassuring smile. It was clear that he carried a weight of responsibility not just for the children and Lily, but now for the perception of his character in the public eye. "Morning, Jason," Ava said, approaching him. "Are you ready for the big day?" "I've been ready," he replied, giving a small, confident nod. "These kids are ready too. We just need to guide them." Ava admired his composure. He carried a quiet strength, the kind that didn't demand attention but naturally inspired trust. As they walked toward the competition venue, she felt a sense of pride not just as a CEO, but as someone who had found a partner whose values matched her own. The competition hall was filled with excitement and energy. Children from various schools had brought their inventions, ranging from small robots to creative coding projects. The air buzzed with curiosity, laughter, and the occasional frustrated sigh as young minds worked through problems. Jason moved gracefully through the crowd, kneeling beside children, explaining concepts patiently, and encouraging them to think creatively. Ava noticed how every child seemed to respond positively to him, much like Lily. He had a rare ability to instill confidence and curiosity, without being overbearing or directive. The day's events began smoothly, but by mid-afternoon, an unexpected challenge emerged. One of the competing schools had a robot malfunction during a demonstration, and the children looked distraught. Ava watched as Jason quickly approached, kneeling beside them. "It's okay," he said softly. "Every problem has a solution. Let's figure it out together." Within minutes, Jason had analyzed the robot, explained the error in simple terms, and guided the children to fix it. Laughter and applause replaced tears and frustration. Ava felt a rush of admiration. This was not just teaching, it was leadership, empathy, and inspiration combined. Meanwhile, some journalists covering the event approached Ava with questions about Jason's past. She answered confidently, emphasizing the courage and integrity Jason had shown in his earlier whistleblowing efforts. His actions then, and his dedication now, show exactly what kind of person he is, she said firmly. Jason noticed the exchange but remained calm. He had grown accustomed to navigating such situations, and Ava's support gave him reassurance. Together, they demonstrated teamwork and trust values that the children naturally absorbed. After the event, Ava and Jason sat on a bench outside the venue. The city lights reflected in puddles from a recent rain, creating a serene glow. Lily sat between them, exhausted but happy, her small hand resting in Jason's. "You handled that well," Ava said quietly, looking at Jason. "Even with all the pressure, you stayed calm." Jason smiled, though there was a hint of fatigue. "It's not just me. We did this together with the kids and you. It's teamwork," Ava nodded. "I know. But you were the heart of it. They trust you. And that's rare." Jason's expression softened, a mixture of pride and relief. "I just want to do right by Lily, and by them." As they walked home, the conversation shifted to lighter topics. Lily's excitement about building new robots, ideas for coding games, and weekend plans. For a brief moment, the weight of Jason's past, the media attention, and the professional tension seemed to lift. Ava felt a warmth she hadn't known in years, a sense of belonging and shared purpose. However, the stability was soon tested. That week, Ava received a confidential call from a major investor. They were concerned about the media attention on Jason's past and questioned whether it could affect Nuracore's reputation and stock value. Ava listened patiently, explaining the truth about Jason's integrity and emphasizing the positive impact of the community program. The investor remained skeptical, requesting assurances that Jason's past would not bring unforeseen problems. Ava promised transparency and careful oversight but knew that she could not control every perception. It was a reminder that the professional world often judged based on appearances rather than character. Later, she shared the conversation with Jason. "They're worried about the article," Ava said, frustration tinged in her voice. "I explained everything, but you can see how people react to the past even when it's noble." Jason nodded, understanding. "I get it. But I won't let it affect my work here. I want to focus on what we're building, not the opinions of others." Ava felt a surge of admiration. He carried the weight of public scrutiny without letting it weaken his focus or spirit. His loyalty to Lily, to the children, and to the work they were doing was unwavering. The following days tested them further. A technical glitch during a live demonstration threatened to disrupt a major part of the program. The children looked confused and disappointed, and Ava felt her heart race. Jason, however, remained calm. He analyzed the issue quickly, identified the error, and guided the students to correct it. Within minutes, the demonstration resumed, and the children cheered, filled with renewed confidence. Ava realized something important. Jason's past had prepared him for moments like this. The challenges he had faced had strengthened his patience, problem-solving skills, and emotional resilience. He was not defined by mistakes or controversies. He was defined by how he handled obstacles and lifted others around him. By the end of the week, the community program had reached new heights. Parents expressed gratitude, children were excited to continue learning, and Nuracore's reputation grew stronger because of the positive stories that accompanied the media coverage. Ava felt proud not just of the project, but of the team they had become. One evening, Ava invited Jason and Lily to her penthouse for a quiet dinner. The city skyline twinkled outside, casting a soft glow into the room. After Lily had gone to bed, Ava and Jason sat together on the balcony, enjoying the peaceful night air. "You know," Ava said softly, "I've seen many people face challenges in my life. But the way you handle pressure, the way you care for others, it's remarkable." Jason looked at her, a faint blush on his cheeks. "I'm just doing what I think is right. And that's what makes you extraordinary," Ava replied, smiling. "Not just your skills, but your heart. You inspire people without trying. And I'm lucky to know you." Jason's gaze softened. "I feel the same about you, Ava. You've built so much, but you also make room for people. For Lily, for me, for others. That's rare." They sat in silence for a moment, letting the night speak for them. Ava realized that the challenges they faced, the media attention, the investor concerns, the technical glitches had tested not only their abilities but also their trust and loyalty. And through it all, Jason had proven that strength, patience, and honesty were far more powerful than fear or judgment. For the first time in years, Ava allowed herself to imagine a future beyond deadlines and board meetings, a future filled with shared purpose, laughter, and trust. Jason, too, felt a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced since before his whistleblowing days. Together, they were creating something bigger than themselves, a foundation of trust, respect, and human connection that could withstand challenges. And as the city slept beneath them, Ava and Jason knew that the journey ahead would not always be easy. There would be more tests, more doubts, and perhaps even conflicts. But they had discovered a strength in each other and in themselves that could face anything. The week had tested them, pushed them, and reminded them that true success wasn't measured by accolades or headlines, but by the trust, loyalty, and integrity they upheld, and in that, they were triumphant. The city was alive with the soft glow of morning sunlight reflecting off the towering skyscrapers. Ava Lorne stood at the edge of Nuracor's rooftop garden, sipping her coffee, feeling a rare sense of calm. The past few weeks had been a whirlwind: media scrutiny, investor concerns, and the challenges of the citywide robotics program had tested every ounce of her patience, skill, and leadership. But now, as she looked down at the bustling city streets and the small gardens surrounding her, Ava felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had survived the storm. Not just survived, Nuracor's reputation had strengthened, the community program had succeeded, and most importantly, her personal life had begun to blossom in a way she had never imagined. Jason arrived quietly behind her, carrying a small tray with 2 cups of coffee. His presence was steady, calm, and comforting. Ava smiled as he handed her a cup. "Good morning," she said softly. "Good morning," Jason replied, his voice warm. "Sleep well?" "Better than I have in weeks," Ava admitted. "And you?" Jason shrugged, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "I slept fine, excited for today. The kids are finishing their final projects for the competition presentation." Ava nodded. "They'll do well, and they've learned so much from you." Jason's expression softened. "I just guide them. They're the ones who do all the hard work." Ava shook her head. "You do more than guide them. You inspire them. That's not easy." Jason looked away briefly, then back at her, the sun casting a warm glow on his face. "Thank you, Ava. That means a lot." They shared a quiet moment, drinking their coffee and watching the city wake up. Ava realized how rare it was to find someone who brought calm, clarity, and honesty into her life. Jason wasn't perfect, no one was, but his integrity, patience, and unwavering kindness made him extraordinary. The day began with energy and excitement. The children's final presentations for the robotics program were scheduled in Nuracor's main hall, attended by parents, media, and investors. Ava had ensured that everything was perfect: the lighting, the equipment, and the schedule. But she knew the real magic lay in the children's talent and enthusiasm. Guided by Jason and Lily's encouragement, as the presentations began, Jason moved quietly among the children, offering small tips and words of encouragement. Lily proudly introduced Ava to her group, explaining the robot they had built together. Ava felt a surge of pride not just for Lily, but for Jason, whose guidance had nurtured creativity, teamwork, and confidence in every child. The audience watched in awe as the children demonstrated their projects. Robots moved with precision. Programmed games functioned flawlessly, and even simple devices amazed everyone with creativity and innovation. Ava felt her heart swell with pride. This was what she had envisioned when she started Nuracor: not just technological achievement, but human growth, curiosity, and ethical innovation. At the end of the presentations, Ava stepped forward to address the audience. "Today, we've witnessed something extraordinary," she said, her voice steady and warm. "These children are not just learning robotics or coding. They are learning to think creatively, to solve problems, and to believe in themselves. This program is about nurturing the human spirit, inspiring the next generation to lead with courage, integrity, and compassion. And it wouldn't have been possible without the guidance of our incredible volunteers, especially Jason Rains." Jason felt a wave of surprise and humility as the audience applauded. He looked at Ava, who smiled warmly, silently telling him that she believed in him. He nodded, a small blush rising to his cheeks, and returned to helping the children with final adjustments. After the event, several parents approached Jason to thank him personally. They spoke of how patient, inspiring, and understanding he had been with the children. Ava watched quietly, proud and grateful that Jason's integrity and dedication were recognized. Later, back in Ava's office, the news outlets called to request interviews. The narrative had shifted completely. What had once been a controversial story about Jason's past now highlighted his courage, honesty, and positive contributions to society. His whistleblowing, once seen as a risk, was now celebrated as an act of moral courage. Ava felt a deep sense of relief. Jason's past no longer threatened Nuracor. Instead, it enhanced their story, showing that ethics and human integrity were more important than appearances or corporate politics. As the day came to an end, Ava invited Jason and Lily to her penthouse to celebrate. The city lights twinkled outside, reflecting in the polished surfaces of her apartment. Lily ran ahead, exploring the space with excitement, while Jason followed with a calm smile. "I can't believe how much fun this was," Lily said, showing Ava the small robot she had programmed. "We won the Best Teamwork Award," Ava laughed. "That's amazing. And it's all because of you and Jason working together." Jason ruffled Lily's hair gently. "We both did it together. You did most of the work, though," Lily giggled. "I like when you say that, Daddy." Ava watched them, feeling a deep warmth in her chest. This small family, the man she admired and the child she had come to love as her own, was more important than anything she had achieved in her professional life. After Lily went to bed, Ava and Jason sat together on the balcony, the city quiet below them. "You've handled everything so well," Ava said softly. "The media, the investors, the children, and yourself. I'm proud of you." Jason smiled, though there was a hint of humility in his expression. "I couldn't have done it without you. You believed in me, even when the world doubted. That made all the difference." Ava reached for his hand, feeling the warmth and steady strength in his grasp. "We've faced challenges together," she said, "and we've come out stronger. I think we make a good team." Jason's gaze softened, filled with emotion. "The best team," he said quietly. "I never thought I'd find someone who understands me, who trusts me, and who makes me feel like I can face anything." Ava smiled, a sense of peace settling over her. "That's how I feel too." They sat in silence for a while, the night sky above them filled with stars. For the first time, Ava felt that she could fully balance her professional success with personal happiness. Jason had shown her that human integrity, trust, and kindness were the foundation for lasting achievement and joy. The next morning, Nuracor resumed its regular operations, but the atmosphere was different. Employees were inspired, investors were reassured, and the community program continued to thrive. Ava and Jason worked together seamlessly, guiding projects and mentoring young minds. Their relationship grew naturally, strengthened by shared experiences and mutual respect. Lily remained at the center of their lives, her curiosity and enthusiasm, a constant reminder of why they had worked so hard. Jason continued to nurture her talents, and Ava encouraged her creativity. Together, they formed a small, happy family, bound by love, trust, and shared purpose. Weeks later, Ava organized a small celebration at the community center. Parents, children, and volunteers gathered to honor the success of the program and the impact it had made on the community. Jason was at her side, quietly directing activities and encouraging the children. Ava watched him, realizing that his past, once a source of worry, had become a symbol of human resilience and ethical courage. When it was time to speak, Ava stepped forward. "This program shows what is possible when we combine talent, integrity, and heart," she said. "It shows that challenges, even from the past, can become strengths when faced with courage and honesty. And it shows that the human spirit, guided by trust and care, can achieve extraordinary things." Jason stood beside her, and Lily held his hand. The audience erupted in applause. Ava felt tears of pride welling in her eyes. They had triumphed not just professionally, but personally, proving that trust, integrity, and love could overcome any challenge. Later, as they walked home together, Ava held Jason's hand, and Lily skipped ahead. The city lights reflected their smiles, a testament to the journey they had taken together. Ava knew that whatever the future held, they had built a foundation strong enough to face anything together. In that moment, The past no longer threatened them. It had been acknowledged, respected, and transformed into a source of strength. Ava realized that true success wasn't just measured by achievements or recognition, but by the trust, loyalty, and love that surrounded them. And for Ava, Jason, and Lily, the future was bright, filled with hope, curiosity, and the quiet joy of a life built on integrity, trust, and the simple human happiness of being together. They had faced the challenges, embraced the lessons, and discovered that the strongest technology of all was human connection. And in that, they found triumph, unity, and the kind of happiness that lasts a lifetime.